Yeah, the second speaker is Mr. Sivakumar Bellan, and he is going to talk about a very new concept called emotional intelligence in pharma marketing. And Sivakumar Bellan is also a very known face among the pharma community because he's been a consultant for quite some time. And he's also promoting a lot of brands. He is a pharmacy graduate from Tamil Nadu MGR University, from JSSB Ooty, and a postgraduate in marketing and management and international business from IGNOU, Delhi. He has 25 years of rich experience in pharmaceutical marketing, training, and sales. He has held managerial positions in reputed pharma companies from Alcom, Medley, Panacea, Unicam, and ICI. He is a founder director on marketing in he is running a company, a consulting company called Simple and Smart Solutions. And he has created more than 200 medical documentaries and health videos for pharma companies. He has trained thousands of students, professionals in a unique program called 108 Life Skills of Success, mentored many startup entrepreneurs on 108 business tools for success, and also trained doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and pharmaceutical professionals. He is a visiting faculty to various pharmacy colleges and business schools. His live interviews have been featured in Doordarshan, and he's a regular speaker in forums like IDMA, IPA, and SIPMA and MMA, including tailor-made talks to Tamil Nadu Police Academy, Tamil Nadu Judicial Academy, Madras High Court, and ISRO. He has earned certifications from reputed training bodies in India and abroad. He runs a CSR initiative in healthcare named Bellan Diabetics and Heart Foundation to create health awareness in Nilgiris in Tamil Nadu and other rural areas in Tamil Nadu. Over to Mr. Bellan.
A little bit, 10 minutes more for good afternoon. I want a very participative session because this is to deal with emotions. Dr. Hari presented more on data and more on the logic side of the brain. And I'm going to take you through a journey about emotions. How a brand managers, today whatever the big brands which we are hearing in Chennai, whether it's Zinkowitz or Fortsby or many other big brands, Bifilac, whatever brand, there is a story to every brand. These brands have not become overnight a 100 crore or 500 crore brand. And what has happened in the mind of the brand manager who weaves a story for every brand. And this particular session for the next half an hour, I'm going to take you through a journey called emotions and how you can apply emotions in branding. So let's have some fun. Let us see a very interesting emotion. The cockroach. I want everyone to recite. The cockroach is afraid of the rat. The rat is afraid of the cat. The cat is afraid of the dog. The dog is afraid of man. Now it's interesting. The man is afraid of women. And the cycle will get completed. The women is afraid of the cockroach. And just apply this today in your pharma scenario. Just assume the cockroach is like our medical rep. Up the hierarchy, everybody, every day, we are on a sales target and we are on a roller coaster ride where everybody works on a phenomenon called the next important emotion called fear. Fear is a very, very important emotion. Many a times through fear, we become a great performer, but at the same time, fear can also reduce the productivity of people. So we should be very balanced. How do we use this emotion? So what is emotion is all about? So when you write a brand story, this is the story which I'm going to tell for most of the marketers sitting over here, all the business over here. Every company has a story. Likewise, every brand has a story. And how is a story made? A story is made, it's a collective of emotions. There'll be love, there'll be joy, there'll be stress, there'll be fear, there'll be anxiety, there'll be guilt, there'll be disgust. All these things, complex things, together becomes an emotion. So 3 important components where a brand marketer need to look when he creates a brand story is that every emotion leads to a subjective experience, a physiological response. When we talk to a doctor about a brand, there is a physiological response which can be created through the brand. And the third important thing, the expressive response. If you see each one of them, it's just like the subordinate meeting the boss. It is a collection of the events which take place in our lives. Suppose your manager is assigning a new project today, or you're meeting many of your clients in a conference, or you're stuck up in a heavy traffic. So you go through a lot of subjective experience. And this you'll correlate with your previous experience and you'll color them with emotions. So this time I should avoid because there's going to be traffic jam. So this, I think Hari mentioned, which is the right time to meet the doctors. Similarly, in a business organization, I think Kale upon not boss get anything we want to take signature, I should not go in the morning. Maybe evening time is the relevant time when he's much relaxed, when he's emotionally is very happy, cool time where I can get most of the things signed from them. So the first thing you need to see is that the subjective experience. The second one is the physiological response. It can be, you can judge a person that through emotions, just by shaking hands with him, by his sweaty palms, or his raising heart, or the rush of the blood to the cheeks, you can find how emotionally charged he is. And this increases the autonomic nervous system, where it regulates the heartbeat, your digestion go into problem, many things happen. And you can create the same thing through your brand stories. You can emote in a doctor's chamber through your brand stories, which I will cite examples, how even a simple statement which can create this physiological response in a doctor, which will compel him to write the product. And the third one is that the behavioral response. The facial expressions and the body language, like smiling, crying, clenching fists, or raising your eyebrows, it's a behavioral response. Suppose someone wants to express anger. Some people express anger by yelling at people. They'll shout at people. And some people, they want to express anger, they will seclude in a room. They'll not talk to anybody. These are the two dimensions of expressing your anger. The same thing is with the fear. When you have fear, either you cry or you show it as laughter. Laughter in the sense, if your boss fires you, you go side and you just laugh at the incidents, so you can ease out the thing. So it is, everybody will go through these emotions, but how you respond to these emotions is very, very important. So there are 160 plus emotions, but I just captured 8 important emotions which will help the brand managers in drafting a beautiful brand story. Let us see if you're able to guess each emotion. What is this emotion? What is this emotion is about? Frustration, yes. Anger is a very, very powerful emotion. Why do we get angry? The purpose of anger is to fight against problems. And you can show this anger even in your detailing story. When I show that, you'll realize that. The second important emotion, what is this emotion? Fear. Fear, the purpose of fear is to protect us from danger. Especially during the COVID times, if you've seen the WHO, whatever the material is given by the WHO, they've used this component, emotion of fear to make us to comply to the regulations of the COVID-19 protocol by wearing a mask or social distancing thing. So you can weave this into your story. The third emotion, can you guess? Anticipation. If you are able to anticipate problems, many a times, all of a sudden, out of the blue, you will be struck with problems. So you are not able to take a very strategic decision. That is the reason in marketing, what happens is that most of the time, we take tactical decisions rather than strategic decisions. If you are able to anticipate, the purpose is to look forward and you'll be able to plan properly, whether it's a cycle meeting or anything else. So this is a very, very important emotion. Fourth emotion. What is this emotion? Excitement. Surprise. You're going for a surprise. So when you have a surprise element, do you have a surprise element for the doctors? So even in your visual aid, many a times what happens is that we bring the surprise element in the beginning itself. You need to build the story in such a way that surprise element should be kept at the end, where, especially when you introduce the price. Many a times we tell our product is also available and you just tell the price. Maybe yours is the most economical brand, but do you weave that story by bringing a surprise element? So you can use this element of surprise when you weave the story. This particular emotion, joy. This reminds us what's important to us. Most of the time, especially this is more relevant to people, not only in the head office, but also in the field. When you go for a field work, the brand managers, how do you engage your medical reps the entire day process? The entire day is under constant stress, and because of that, it hampers his detailing skills, it hampers his selling skills and other skills. So by using this component of joy, you can make him so relaxed, so his performance index will go up 10 times. The very important emotion, crying, sadness. Sometimes sadness, the purpose of sadness is to connect with us, which we love. So love also can be weaved into your detailing story, like losing someone in your dearest friend. So certain brands, especially this happens in anti-cancer, you show the value of life. You can show the value of life by bringing a component, the emotion called sadness, into your detailing story. And that's how you capture the emotion of the doctor, and it helps to sell the product. And trust. Trust is a very, very important thing in business. So through trust only, all the partnership in business is built through trust. So trust will help to connect with people whom you help. And last but not the least, it is disgust, to reject what is unhealthy. And in fact, even in the first session, Mr. Komarel was mentioning, first thing you should learn what not to do. Especially when you use this emotion called disgust, you will come to know in a marketing scenario, like what the doctor dislikes in a pharma company. So that is how you're going to weave the story. So now let's see how this emotion is going to help you. So generally, when you make a detailing story, how do you get the daily dose of happiness? Does my product will make the doctor happy? So how are you going to make the doctor happy? It's not only by giving the samples or the gifts or any other freebies which you give to the doctor. Even through your emotional detailing, you can create a daily dose of happiness. And through this communication, you can create this. So what the D stands for? It stands for dopamine. Dopamine enables motivation. It helps in learning process and pleasure. And it gives the determination to accomplish goals, desires, and needs. If this hormone is little bit less, that is the time, many a times when you go to meet a doctor, he's literally not interested in your detailing story. It tells next, next, next. Because your detailing story is not excited the doctor to make him listen to your story. So how your detailing story starts with an emotional quotient is very, very important. So you can trigger this particular hormone called dopamine. The next one is oxytocin. Oxytocin will help in the field of trust. It motivates you to build and sustain relationships. If you ask a question to the doctors, why doctors prescribe your product? It could be multiple factors. It could be the price. It could be a good quality product. But ultimately, end of the day, why a doctor prescribes a product for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? Because it is the trust which you have built over the period of years. The third one is serotonin. Serotonin is a feeling significant and important among peers. This is a very, very important hormone which you can stimulate, especially during your field work. Generally, what happens, no, you maintain the hierarchy when you go for field work. By maintaining the hierarchy, what happens, no, the serotonin levels in your medical rep is so low, so he loses his enthusiasm when he's interacting with the doctor. But I've seen many good managers, the moment they go for field work, you put your hand on his shoulder and make him so comfortable. And this is where it excites him, that he feels, I'm a part of the team. He becomes a peer to you. That means that you are not having that boss to junior sort of a relationship. So this is one way you can trigger the serotonin. And last but not the least, it is the endorphins. Endorphins is basically releasing, it's a brief euphoria to mask the physical pain. It is cracking a joke with your colleagues in the field, making the working environment at ease. So these emotions can be introduced into your detailing story. And I will not go into this particular thing because it may take time. I'll directly dive into how emotional intelligence will be useful in your detailing. In a very real sense, we have two minds, one that thinks and one that feels. And many a times, though we use our thinking brain to apply the logics, suppose you bring a product to me, you talk about the merits of the product, you talk about the benefits, you talk about the price advantage, everything. My logical brain will process that. But ultimately, as a doctor, I will prescribe a product when I feel that I have to write the thing. That's what we use the AIDA strategy in marketing. First, we create an attention, then we develop an interest, then it develops into a desire by the doctor. Until and unless the doctor has the desire to prescribe a product, it will not lead to into action to prescribe a product. No matter, that is the reason the pharma marketer should give enough time when first visit, second visit, third visit, at least the fourth visit you can expect prescriptions from a doctor, because to develop AIDA, this a process has to be followed. And in that, these particular emotions will play a very, very important role. And this is how it works. We don't make decisions using our logic brains. Many a times we make decisions using our emotional brain. And this particular strategy or tactic is used in emotional marketing, especially you would have seen in online, especially the HelpAge India, or even now you would have seen many ads in your Google thing, coming like a person is suffering from cancer. What do you call that? Crowdfunding, or the person for his renal failure. He doesn't have 1 crore rupee to pay to the hospital, whatever it is. And they develop this emotional marketing by painting the picture of the patient, and thereby creating the emotion called guilt in you. The moment you are able to emote the emotion called guilt in the doctor, that is why you motivate him to prescribe. Until and unless you create a sense of guilt, no matter you would have given him, samples, literatures, gifts, so many sponsorship, even abroad. But the moment only when you create the sense of guilt in him, and that is where he becomes a continuous prescriber. And this is how you can use these words in emotional marketing. I just mentioned the 8 emotions and how these triggers can work in making your product reach. The first one is fear. Which type of company is using fear? Insurance companies. If you do not have insurance and suddenly in a road accident you die, what will happen to your family? So their entire communication pattern, they weave their story which will revolve around fear. They'll show the family picture. They'll show a single child. If your father is no more, what will happen to your family? So don't get caught with no insurance. So that is their USP, and that is their trigger. The second emotion is guilt. This happens with non-profit companies. Save them with a donation of X. So whichever company is approaching you for any donation, they use the emotion called guilt. The third one is trust. The financial companies, because earlier, since a lot of financial irregularities have happened in the market, they used a very important, LIC used. Even after your death, you can trust LIC. That is the way they communicate. And so and another important thing they mention in their communication is no hidden fees. They use the powerful word of trust, which is used even in pharma marketing. The fourth emotion is value. It is not that the USP of your product. Generally, the traditional marketing style is over, where we mention your product, features, advantages, and benefits. The doctor is not interested about the fab chart. What the doctor is interested, what is the value which will add to your patient? So whether it is giving 100% back guarantee, that means the value it will add to your patient. The fifth emotion is belonging. That is what all, whether it's a Rotary Club or any big clubs, they'll create a sense of belonging. Or do you belong to the Rotary? Or do you belong to the Lions? And be a part of our family, which we know you're part of the elite family. The sixth one is pleasure. Pleasure means instant gratification, less than 24 hours. So many of these, like holiday resorts, they use this concept of emotion called pleasure with your family to sell their product. And last but not the least, competition. In fact, we have got into a rat race of competition by comparing ourselves. He is giving 10 plus 2 bonus offer, so I have to give 10 plus 3 or 10 plus 4. Okay, he has reduced the price, even I need to reduce the price. So if you apply the blue ocean strategy other than the red ocean strategy, if you apply red ocean strategy, there is no end to reduce your price or give bonus offers. And that is how we have squeezed our margins in the pharma industry. But if you use the blue ocean strategy, you can get rid of the competition spirit and make them others jealous. This is what the strategy Apple is using. Today, why we spend 1 lakh rupee on a simple mobile phone where it is available at 10,000 rupees? It is simply because it uses blue ocean strategy. I quickly run through the example. The one example Apple uses is that simplicity. They use simplicity in their emotions. And today, having an Apple iPhone itself that you belong to, that's a sense of belonging, that you're into an elite class or sort of a thing. The next one is, it's a very interesting example which you can correlate with our pharma brands, is that Nike. In 2012 London Olympics, Nike was not given the way to organize the London Olympics. It went to Adidas. It went to Adidas for $150 million. But Nike, like our brand managers keep complaining, sir, that company is giving TV and fridge, sir, what should I do? I'm not so big enough for giving TV and fridge. And that is an example you can learn from Nike, is that what they did is that you cannot advertise in London Olympics. So what? So these brand managers of Nike, they've identified which are the cities in the world which have the name of London. And those brand managers identified the name of London, and they made small street kids to use their Nike shoes and play. And they said, you can find greatness not only in the big athletes, you can find greatness even in the street boys. And that's how it became a big campaign. At the end of the campaign, when they did a survey, many people thought Nike was the official sponsor of the London Olympics. And now let's slowly correlate to the pharma brands. Mercedes is one example. It shows a sense of belonging. Doctors. What is emotional intelligence with marketing? So when you write the detailing story, you should understand the mood of the doctor, the behavior of the doctor. Behavior means every doctor, since I trained doctors for the last 4 or 5 years, I know their psyche. A pediatrician will totally behave from the way a psychiatrist or a cardiologist behave. So when brand managers do a survey, they should understand the psyche of the doctor. Even doctors, cardiologists and a physician and a GP, their mood swings are totally different. And when you put a detailing story to them, does this detailing story strike a chord with the doctor? And what are their pain points? You should talk about more of the value and the pain points rather than more about the features and the benefits, which is mostly known to the doctors. And this will act as the purchasing triggers for the doctor. And using these concepts, you need to devise a detailing story. Not now, many years back, Aristotle wrote a very beautiful thing about detailing. Detailing in the sense to devise a story called ethos, which stands for credibility and authority, pathos, emotion and imagination, and logos is logic and reason. What Dr. Hari presented over here is to do with more of logic and reason, the rationality of prescribing a product. Tamil Nadu, this is the market. You slice the market into segment and where I have to target. But having done that, you have segmented the market, everything is fine. What action you're going to take in the doctor's chamber? And that is where a right blend of pathos, how emotionally you weave with the logic and the credibility. Credibility means showing medical journal. Suppose you tell this particular study has been published in the Lancet. It shows a credibility of the product. So when you have a nice blend of ethos, pathos, and logos, 33% each, I think that is when you tell a beautiful brand story. And the takeaway for the brand managers here is that next time when you make a brand story, just don't look for features and benefits. Look up for what is the emotion I'm going to convey to my doctor. What is the credibility which brings from this particular product? So I'm going to talk about just 2 particular emotions where you can devise a story. The first particular emotion is trust. Because this is a very, very valuable emotion. Only when he has the emotion of trust, as yesterday someone was mentioning, why someone takes a tablet, because he trusts it will cure your disease. Even now today, when you go, suppose you are a diabetic and you go and purchase a product on OTC, First thing you will see the credibility of the product. You don't matter about the cost of the product, whether it's going to cure me. So what do you mean by that? The emotion called trust builds in your mind. So I would go for rather I don't mind the cost, rather it should cure my diabetes. So how do you communicate this trust through communication? The two important thing is that trust, we say trust, trust, trust. But gentlemen, because of the paucity of time, I will not go into detail. I'll just tell the snippets of this. Trust cannot build overnight. It cannot be built overnight. It's a process. When you say trust means, suppose you tell only good morning to doctor and smile at the doctor, trust cannot be built. It's a two-pronged strategy. Trust has to be built. One, from the character point of view. That means, are you disciplined? Whether your intent of meeting the doctor is good, whether your integrity is good. The other component is your competence. That means the capability of your company, the capability of your product, and what results your brand offers. Ultimately, you're goody-goody to the doctor. Everything is fine. When the doctor prescribes your product to the patient, if it does not give results, then it becomes a big, big issue. So when you write a detailing story, you see whether this particular thing called trust is built. Because, why he prescribes? Because there is a hormone called oxytocin which builds in the brain, which get releases, and this oxytocin builds trust. So this is what it will get triggered. That's what you have oxytocin injections also, which is also called as the love hormone. And how this is going to help is that it is going to help through storytelling. So you cannot just tell trust, doctor, trust my brand. No, it will not work. So you have to write a beautiful story. So that is how in brand we call detailing story, detailing story. You have to build a beautiful brand story where listening to story releases oxytocin, the trust and bond hormone. So suppose you tell in India, so many millions of patients have used our product and they have been cured by diabetes with statistics. You use that ethos, that credibility with the statistics, and that is where the doctor going to trust your brand and start prescribing.
A beautiful quote on aging.
Can you increase
by
the volume?
Thomas
Just
Bailey
it's going to.
Aldridge reads, all the best sands of my life are somehow getting into the wrong end of the hourglass. If I could only reverse it, were it in my power to do so, would I? This is what every aging person would dream about. Pancreatic beta cells have to be saved very early in life, much earlier than we thought, because of the limited beta cell reserves. Beta cell proliferation begins shortly after birth, and the rate of proliferation is highest between 1 to 3% in the first year of life, and it significantly declines to less than 0.2% after 2 years. Moreover, normal adult rate of beta cell proliferation is just 0.1%.
A beautiful quote by Ricky Lake reads, "Motherhood is the greatest thing and the hardest thing. In today's competitive world, it is still survival of the fittest. Parents always desire healthy, intelligent, and smart kids. But the journey to motherhood is always very challenging. In this pursuit of good health,
Guts makes life adventurous, but firstly, one needs a healthy gut. Hippocrates quoted 2000 years ago that all disease begins in the gut. Indians are 3 times greater than Americans, 6 times greater than Chinese, and 20 times greater than Japanese. Alarming? Yes, in the incidence of coronary artery disease. And one of the major risk factors for CAD is hypercholesterolemia.
So this is how when you write a story, you can use emotions to your advantage so the doctor gets excited. And these were the initial stories which I created 8 years back, but due to confidentiality, I've just shown only the opening thing, which will motivate the doctor to prescribe. With this, the last one emotion, and I will close the session, is fear. Many times we have seen in the COVID time how fear emotion was so used, and if you look at the sales, those who have been selling vaccines, they have become multi-crorepathies. And this use of the emotion called fear. It acts on the amygdala of the brain, and how you can trigger fear is that, which you see, the virus of fear. And today, Though most of us know there is no cure for COVID-19, but still, Dr. Hari was mentioning, you have this problem, you take Zincovate. The component of fear has so drilled into a brain that, we want to save our lives. And what the elderly fear most in times of COVID-19? We all talk about immunity, immunity, and immunity. In spite of knowing that there is no cure, but we want to save a life. So here the emotion of fear was very beautifully used and weaved to bring a multi-dollar industry, especially in the vaccines. And this is how they have coupled in your detailing story. And this is how fear can be also used for quitting smoking. I think Jayasilan sir has a product for anti-smoking. So this particular, this particular emotion called fear can be used, especially someone is promoting products related to anti-smoking products you have. Okay, it could be a mouth-melting strip or whatever. You can use the component called fear, weave into your story where what smoking can lead to, and thereby using a product, how we can save lives. Fantastic international campaign, Open Happiness with Coca-Cola. Color, the psychology of color. Many a times we give this liberty to our designers. My humble request to all the brand managers sitting here is that henceforth when you design a detailing story, please use the creativity part. It should be, of course the designer will do his job, but color has a lot of meaning in pharma marketing too, where red can show a lot of emotion called strength, passion and excitement. Yellow, it's intellect, joy and energy. Any energy drink you have, you can very beautifully use this color called yellow. Blue is for loyalty, trust, intelligence, especially drugs which are sold, especially, patients, anxiolytics. For anxiolytics, you can use the color called blue. And of course, green, especially all the herbal products have been using green for their marketing. So you should use as brand managers, color appropriately in your detailing story. So how it is going to help? Differentiation from the competition. There is a human connection. It's not just a transactional analysis happening. It is a human connection and positive brand recognition. It's built brand loyalty which translates with greater retention and customer lifetime value and better targeting which can increase your ROI. And last but not the least, the future of marketing. Today we are talking about detailing story, the visual aid and detailing. We are currently working on a project of using visual reality and detailing where you can make the doctor experience how the tablet when the patient takes, when it goes inside his stomach, what the tablet does, that can be beautifully written into a story, conveyed into the video, and when you put into a VR goggle, which costs just 5,000, and this when you use, he'll have a different dimension of experience with this pharmaceutical brand. I think that is the way future for pharma marketing, especially the brand managers. And another one last thing which is going to come with this, I close the session called artificial intelligence. Today, I use artificial intelligence for even writing scripts. When you write, there is a website called writer.me. When you put 5 keywords or 5 emotions with your brand and just enter the button, this will pull the data from more than thousands of articles worldwide and it will put forth a blog. And from the blog, you can filter the plagiarism and filter the thing and you can develop a beautiful story out of this. And this is how artificial intelligence can be used in pharma marketing. And already companies like, HDFC, when you call HDFC Bank, the message which comes is on artificial intelligence, which is, thank you so much for this great opportunity.
Put your hands together. Thank you, Shiv Kumar. Over to Mr. Sridharan to wrap up the sessions.
Thank you, Shiv Kumar, for your very good talk today. So we had 2 speakers in this session, and we had Mr. Hari. He gave us fantastic insights with regard to the markets, pharma markets across the country. Enormous data he has given and a lot of work he has done, and I think he's going to share among our group, and then you will have all the data with you. And precisely, he was talking about the 45 billion pharma markets, and then 47,000 stockists and 8 to 9 lakh retailers. And branding is very important, and then the survey says, we have to improve our engagement with the doctors, more than 67%. And then promotion by digital route is also a very important finding from him. And, it's more and more, digitalization is important for pharma marketing. And delivering the brands through digital framework is also very important. And apart from the face-to-face one, you share it with the digital route also. And also very interesting thing, like, what are all the very apt timings to meet up with the doctors. This is also a very new findings we have found out today. And of course, the biggest markets are Maharashtra, West Bengal, UP, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. And Chennai, Tamil Nadu is holding about, in Tamil Nadu is also a very important market, and 35% of the market is in Chennai. So another important thing, concept he has evolved is, instead of CRM, he says customer engagement model, CEM, which is also catching up fast. Thank you, Hari, for all your inputs, which is going to be very useful for us. With regard to Mr. Shivakumar Bellan's one, and a very interesting topic, which is emotional intelligence, which is going to help us in sales and marketing. He is talking about the physiological response and behavioral response, and different emotions like frustration, anger, fear, anticipation, surprise, joy, sadness, trust, and disgust. He has elaborated. And we get a lot of information regarding the chemicals which are going to activate the brains, like dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. These are all the things how, the emotions are very important. We have to need to control, we have to need to direct it. And of course, the modes of emotional branding, ethos, pathos, and logos are all very important. And thank you again for your good homework, for giving a good presentation today. And
Time to honor the speakers. I'll ask Mr. Sridharan himself to do the honors to the speakers. A shawl and a memento on behalf of Pharmax South. Thank you, Hari and Shivakumar, for having made the session so interesting and beautiful. The forenoon sessions for the day are over, but we are going to resume at 2 o'clock. But before that, we have a pleasant duty to do. Can I ask you, Mr. Jayasilan and Mr. Veermani sir, to come over to the dais to do some pleasant work? Ladies and gentlemen, the entire Pharmax South would not have been complete without the exhibition, which has seen hundreds of stalls and overflowing, and we didn't have space also. And thanks to the Orbit team, it's time to honor them. The team led by Mr. Rupan Vikramse, please come onto the stage. Put your hands together. Year on year, Orbit is growing it's going to the next orbit every time. So we look forward to the next rung. Followed by Chintan Chadda and Varsha Surve, his team. So Rupanji, it is not just the business, it's about the emotion. Yeah. Yeah. Chintan Chadda. So the next year we will look forward to filling the 2 halls, not just 1 hall in Trade Center, possibly. Give them once again a round of applause. Thank you so much. I look forward to continued relationship and association. Yeah, we were preserving it for the end of the day, but bigger round of applause. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah. Next year, we will look forward to filling the entire Trade Center, sir. Yes. Yeah, you can break for lunch now and get back at 2 p.m. for starting the next 3 sessions and be here on time. Thank you so much.